Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 12th of March 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss 14 to 15 very important and the most important current affair. So watch the video till last, but before proceeding I am requesting you all the students that you have to like this video, you have to share as maximum as possible and you have to subscribe our channel. But before starting the current affair, I just want to discuss about Affairs Cloud subscription that is related to our current affairs. It means you can download or you can subscribe our current affairs at very minimal cost. What is the price of this subscription? You can download our application because you can subscribe only from our application. The name of application is Careers Cloud. How you can download? We put a link in the description box. You can download very easily from that link. We are providing 1 year current affair as well as 2 year current affair. It means we are providing 2021 as well as 2022 current affair. But if you want to purchase 2020 current affair, that is half yearly current affair or the full year current affair, then you have to visit our website, that is affairscloud.com/current affair. Now, what we are providing under this subscription, we are providing daily wise PDF. In the daily wise PDF section, we are providing two type of PDFs. One is related to the theoretical current affair of particular day. Next is the question and answer PDF. It means you can revise the theoretical current affair in format of the question and answer. Next is the weekly PDF, and it is very important to revise the current affair on weekly basis. Next is the weekly test, most important section, because you can evaluate yourself that how much current affair you can retain for long time period. Next is the monthly PDF section, and it is the most important section because we are providing so many PDFs according to your exam convenience. Like first is the study PDF. It means all the theoretical and detailed current affair will be provided to you particular month under this PDF. Next is the question and answer PDF. It means all the theoretical current affair will be converted in the form of question and answer so that you can revise again and again. Next is the pocket PDF. As the name suggests, it is very useful to revise the current affair before your exam very quickly and in theoretical format. Next is the banking, finance and economy PDF, especially for those aspirants who are preparing for the banking exam. And last is the top 100. It means the best 100 current affair will be provided to you in the format of question and answer so that you can revise the best current affairs again and again. So guys, these all things will be provided to you every month and your current affair section will go definitely strong. And these type of the subscription, like 1 year subscription, 2 year subscription, are provided at very minimal cost. And on the minimal cost, we are providing you 10% extra discount. If you use this code, that is ASH10, ASH10, then you will get 10% extra discount. But these current affairs are available in Hindi as well as in English. So subscribe today from the application, and application name is Careers Cloud. So let's start today's current affair, that is the 12th of March 2021. But I am requesting you again that you have to like this video, you have to share as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe our channel if you are new on this platform. So let's start today's current affair with our first section, that is the most important question section. And here is our first question. India and Uzbekistan armies conducted military exercise in Ranikhet, Uttarakhand. It means the examiner is just telling you that India and Uzbekistan conducted one exercise, that is a military exercise in Uttarakhand. It means in India. What is the name of this exercise? And I am telling you, this exercise is the second version of earlier military exercise of India and Pakistan, which was hosted by Uzbekistan in 2020. But this exercise named as Dastalik 2. It is the second version because first version was hosted by the Uzbekistan. Now it is the second version and it is hosted by India. It means the third version in 2022 will be hosted by Uzbekistan again. So it is just an alternative venue. So just remember Dastalik 2, and it is between India and Uzbekistan. So guys, other three exercise you can see in the option, and these are very important exercises. Like you can say Sampriti 9. Sampriti 9 is in between India and Bangladesh. Remember, Yudh Abhyas between India and the USA. Next is the Garud Shakti. It is again very important, India and the Indonesia. So you have to remember India and Bangladesh, Sampriti 9, Yudh Abhyas, India and USA. Next is the Garud Shakti between India and Indonesia. So guys, remember Dastalik is in between India and Uzbekistan. So you can see here India and Uzbekistan field training exercise Dastalik, and it is hosted by which state? It is hosted by India, but state is Uttarakhand. So you can see here it is being held from the March 10 to 19, 2021 at Chobatia near Ranikhet, Uttarakhand. But you don't have to remember the exact place, just remember the state, that is Uttarakhand. And Dastalik 1 was hosted by Uzbekistan, and it is just to boost the military and diplomatic ties between the two countries. And guys, remember what is the capital of Uzbekistan? Capital is Tashkent, and remember the currency is Uzbekistani Som. So remember, this is very important. And guys, remember about Uttarakhand. New Chief Minister of Uttarakhand is Tirath Singh Rawat. Remember Tirath Singh Rawat. And he is the ninth Chief Minister of Uttarakhand. You have to remember this because in recent day you can say Trivendra Singh Rawat resigned. And who is the governor of Uttarakhand? Baby Rani Maurya. And Uttarakhand is very famous state if you are comparing with the national parks because Jim Corbett National Park is there. That is the oldest national park of India. It was established in 1936. You have to remember Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. One of the very important biosphere reserve out of the 18 biosphere reserve in India, Nanda Devi, you have to remember. Next is the Rajaji National Park. It is again very important. Valley of Flowers National Park. So these things are very important in the Uttarakhand. So you guys have to remember this. We are now moving to next question. India's largest floating solar power plant will be commissioned in which state? Again, it is the most important because it will be the India's largest floating solar power plant which will be commissioned in like May, June 2021. And you have to tell me what is the name of the state. So it is very important. So guys, you have to remember that this power plant is basically solar power plant and we have a target till 2022 we have to achieve 175 gigawatt from the new and energy resources, but out of 175 gigawatt 100 gigawatt is only from the solar. So to achieve these type of the target we have to start the solar power plants and it is the India's largest floating solar power plant. And guys, remember this solar power plant is being developed by the NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation, and total capacity of this solar power plant is 447 megawatt. You have to remember the entire capacity would be commissioned by the March 2023. It means it will be commissioned by fully functional capacity by the year of 2023. But if we are talking about currently how much capacity will be commissioned, then answer is 100 megawatt. And this state is guys Telangana. So remember the name of this state is Telangana. So you can see here NTPC is basically a you can say the developing agency and to commission India's largest floating solar power plant at Ramagundam. So you have to remember Ramagundam is in which state? It is in Telangana and it is in which district of the Telangana? It is in Pedapalli. Remember Pedapalli, Pedapalli district of Telangana. So you can see here it is the largest floating solar power plant and 100 megawatt out of 447 megawatt of total capacity will be constructed at Ramagundam in the Pedapalli district of the Telangana and entire capacity would be commissioned by the year of 2023. But this 100 megawatt will be functional near about the May, June 2021. It means after 2 or 3 months. And guys, remember the world largest floating 600 megawatt solar energy project which is under construction because it is under construction and 100 megawatt is just ready to start in just May and June 2021. And guys, remember solar energy project which is under construction at Omkeshwar Dam on Narmada River in the Madhya Pradesh state. Guys, remember Narmada River is starting from the Amarkantak Hills and this Amarkantak Hills is situated in the Madhya Pradesh. So this is the recent related news you have to remember. Now we are moving to next question. The state is Telangana. You have to remember this. Moving to next question. Who won the second edition of the BCC Indian Sportswoman of the Year 2020? And it is one of the very important award related to the sports and especially for the women players. So very important, it is announced by the BCC and they are announcing 3 awards like Sportswoman of the Year, Emerging Player of the Year and third is the Lifetime Achievement of the Year award. And guys, first we are answering the Sportswoman of the Year. Answer is Koneru Hampi. So you have to remember 2 things. Koneru Hampu belongs to which state? Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh. Second, she is a player of which game? She is a player of chess. So these 2 things you have to remember. Koneru Hampi belongs to Andhra Pradesh and she belongs to which game? Chess. Now we are talking about the Emerging Player of the Year. Emerging Player of the Year is Manu Bakar and Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Anju Bobby George. So it means you have to remember the 3 awards. One is the Sportswoman of the Year, that is Koneru Hampi. Second is Emerging Player of the Year. Emerging Player of the Year award goes to Manu Bakar and Manu Bakar belongs to air gun shooter. And this award category was newly added recently. And next is the Anju Bobby George, very important player. She received the Lifetime Achievement Award and the only Indian athlete to have won a world championship medal in the long jump in 2003. That's why she won this award, Lifetime Achievement Award. So you can see here Konneru Hampi belongs to Andhra Pradesh, bags BCC Indian Sportswoman of the Year award. And who won the Lifetime Achievement Award? Anju Bobby George. And Emerging Player of the Year, Olympian Manu Bakar. And Konneru Hampi belongs to which state? Andhra Pradesh. And she is 33-year-old. And she won the second edition of the BCC Indian Sportswoman of the Year 2020. It means in 2019, they also declared the first edition of the BCC Indian Sportswoman of the Year. So if the examiner is asking about 2019, then remember who won the first time this BCC Indian Sportswoman of the Year, then answer is PV Sindhu. Remember, PV Sindhu is the answer. Now we are moving to next question. Don't remember about BCC. It is not so much important, but you can remember Konneru Hampi. And Konneru Hampi was honored with the Arjun Award in 2003. You can remember, but it is just information. Examiner will not ask that when she won the Arjun Award, because so many players won the Arjun Award, so it is not so much important. She also received the Padam Shri in 2007. So it is just to remember the news. So it is not so much important. So let's move to next question. Which country won gold medal in the ISSF International Shooting Sport Federation Shotgun World Cup 2? So first of all, under this question, you have to remember which country hosted Shotgun World Cup 2. So the answer of this question is who or the which country hosted Shotgun World Cup 2. Then answer of this question is Egypt. Egypt hosted this World Cup 2 related to the shotgun. And guys, remember the shotgun tournament took place for the disciplines of the trap shooting and the skeet shooting. It means it is divided into two categories. One is the trap shooting, second is the skeet shooting. And which country topped? Russia topped under this index. Remember, Russia topped the overall medal tally by 9 medals. And it is followed by the Croatia and the Spain, but India finished 7th position. Remember, India finished on the 7th position, and India won the 2 medals. One medal is won by the women trap team, and women trap team won the silver medal, and men's skeet team won the bronze medal. So you can see here, Indian women trap team settles for the silver in ISSF World Cup because Russia defeated Indian women trap team. So that's why Russia won the gold medal under this shooting. So guys, remember, trap shooting, India women trap team won the silver medal, and Indian trio won the bronze medal in the men's skeet team. So men team won the bronze and women team won the silver medal. And in both the teams, Russia won the gold medal. And Russia in the overall tally won the 9 medal and topped under this index, and Croatia and the Spain on the 2nd and 3rd number. And India finished on the 7th number with the 2 medals. One is won by the women and second is won by the men team. Men team won the bronze and the women team won the silver. I am repeating again and again so that you can remember very easily. And guys, remember about International Shooting Sport Federation. This is very important. You have to remember just the headquarter, not the president. Headquarter is Munich. Munich. Munich is in which country? It is in Germany. If you want to remember about the president, then you can. President name is Vladimir Lisin. Lisin. Vladimir Lisin. So now we are moving to next question. Who is reappointed as the chairman of United Nations panel of external auditors? So it is a very simple question, and it is not so much important, but he was reappointed and it is related to appointment. So that's why we are covering the most important question. And you, I think, already know the answer because he was reappointed as the chairman and he is currently our Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So answer is Girish Chandra Murmu. So most important question you can mark under because it is very important appointment, but you have to remember the other options also. These are very important. Girish Chandra Murmu is the 14th Comptroller and Auditor General of India. He was earlier the, you can say, the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, but after that, he was appointed as the Comptroller and Auditor General. He replaced Rajiv Maharishi. It means Rajiv Maharishi was the old Comptroller and Auditor General. Sunil Arora is currently Chief Election Commissioner of India, and Yashwardhan Kumar Sinha, I covered this news in the November 2020 that he was appointed as the Chief Information Commission of India. So remember, he was appointed as the Chief Information Commissioner of India. So Yashwardhan Kumar Sinha, Girish Chandra Murmu, Sunil Arora and Rajiv Maharishi. All 4 are the very important personalities you have to remember. But the question is United Nations panel of external auditor, then answer is Girish Chandra Murmu. And guys, remember, under this panel, total 13 countries external auditors are there. And this panel was established by United Nations General Assembly in 1959. But date is not so much important. I am telling you this extra information because you can remember this news for long time period. And guys, remember about CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. And CAG is a constitutional body under Article 148. So constitutional means this body has a article. Under Article 148, it is given. So CAG, Girish Chandra Murmu appointed as the chairman of United Nations Panel of External Auditor. Now we are moving to next question. Who is elected as the president of International Olympic Committee until 2025? Again, I am giving you hint that this person is appointed or you can say this person is re-elected as the president of International Olympic Committee. It means earlier this person was the president, but its time period is now over, but he was reappointed as the president of the International Olympic Committee until the year of 2025. It means he is reappointed for the time period of 4 years. So you have to remember this, and answer of this question is very simple. Now answer is Thomas Beck, but you have to remember other options also, like you can see here the Vijay Sampla. He was recently appointed as the chairman of National Commission of Scheduled Caste, and this body is again the constitutional body under Article 338 of the Constitution. Next is Jay Shah. He was recently appointed as the president of Asian Cricket Council. So you have to remember Asian Cricket Council president is Jay Shah. Next is the Siko Hashimoto. She was appointed as the president of the Tokyo Olympics. So remember this is again most important question. Siko Hashimoto belongs to Tokyo, and she was appointed as the president of Tokyo Olympics, or you can say the Tokyo Olympics of 2020, but postponed in 2021. So Thomas Beck was the president of International Olympic Committee, Vijay Sampla National Commission for Scheduled Caste under Article 338, Jay Shah is president of Asian Cricket Council. Now you can see here Thomas Beck re-elected as the International Olympic Committee president until 2025. So another thing under this question is very much important, that where is the headquarter of International Olympic Committee? Headquarter is in Switzerland, or exact place is Lausanne. So you have to remember name of the country, that is Switzerland. Now we are moving to next question. But remember about the Tokyo Olympics 2020, because it was postponed due to COVID-19, and now it will took place in July and August in 2021 in Tokyo, Japan. Now we are moving to next question. Which bank topped the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology digital payment scorecard for 3 consecutive months? It means for the consecutive 3 months, this bank topped under the digital transactions or the digital payments, and this rank is, or this index is released by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And this bank name is, guys, SBI. So you can see here SBI leads in the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology digital payment scorecard. So you can also see here the scorecard tracks the performance of the commercial banks on the various digital parameters, and SBI topped this list by recording the highest UPI transactions volume of around 64 crore, and SBI user base is so much, user base is 13.5 crore, and total UPI transactions are 64 crore. Over its digital platform, SBI has processed around 636 crore transactions, which accounts for around 67% of the total transactions volume of the bank. So it means the 67% of the transactions are the digital transactions which are done through the SBI. So this is very important. And SBI is also the largest debit card issued more than 29 crore debit cards in its customers. So this is a very huge base of the State Bank of India. So guys, remember about the chairman of SBI. Chairman is Dinesh Kumar Khara. Tagline is the banker to every bank. There are so many taglines, but you have to remember the banker to every bank. And it was established under the SBI Act of 1955, because Imperial Bank of India as renamed as the SBI. And where is the headquarter? Headquarter is in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Now we are moving to next question. Who won the gold in the Matteo Pelican Ranking Series 2021 held in Rome, Italy? So first of all, you have to remember this Matteo Pelican Ranking Series 2021 belongs to wrestling, and 2 players won the gold medal, because India won the 8 medals total. Out of 8 medals, 2 were gold, 1 is silver, and 5 are bronze. So if we are talking about the 2 gold, then answer of this question should be B and C. So answer is Bajrang Punia and the Vinesh Fogart. So remember, Bajrang Punia won this gold medal in the 65 kg category. It means I am talking about the freestyle wrestling category. And Vinesh Fogart, she won this under the 53 kg category of the women. So remember this, 2 players won the gold medal in the Matteo Pelican Ranking Series 2021 held in the Rome, Italy. Examiner can ask the hosting country. So you have to remember this hosting country is Rome or Italy. So Bajrang Punia takes gold and number 1 rank in Rome Matteo Pelican Ranking Series event. You can also see here India won the 8 medals. Out of 8, 2 are gold, 1 is silver, and 5 are bronze. And how many countries are participated under this event? 26 countries are participated under this event. And Bajrang Punia won this medal, second consecutive gold medal in the men's 65 kg category. This is very important. And guys, remember, Vinesh Fogart clinched the gold medal in the 53 kg of the women wrestling. We already covered this point. But you have to remember, recently Vinesh Fogart also won the gold medal in the Ukraine Wrestlers and Coach Memorial Tournament held in Ukraine. So you have to also remember, she won the Italy, that is, you can say, Matteo Pellicon ranking series, and she also won the Ukraine Wrestler series, that is also known as the Ukraine Wrestlers and Coaches Memorial Tournament, which was held in Ukraine. And recently, Indian woman wrestler Anshu Malik won the silver medal in 57 kg in the Individual World Cup 2020 held at the Belgrade, Serbia, organized by the United World Wrestling. So you have to remember 4 things under this question. One is the Vinesh Fogart, and 2 things related to Vinesh Fogart. She won the gold medal in this event held in Italy, and second is the Ukraine event. Second is Bajrang Punia. He won the second consecutive gold medal under this category. And remember the Anshu Malik, who won the gold medal in the Individual World Cup 2020 held in the Serbia, Belgrade. Now we are moving to next question, and it is the very important question section. First question is, who has signed MOU with the UTA Infrastructure Technology to issue free new PVC Ayushman cards to Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana? We recently covered this type of the question, and question was, which we discussed in the last February of 2021, who has signed MOU with the Common Service Center to generate Ayushman cards under the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. So who is basically issuing these type of the card, either PVC or either plastic, or either you can say the paper card? This is issued by the National Health Authority. So remember, the answer of this question is National Health Authority. And guys, remember, they are issuing the PVC cards. It means I am talking about the polyvinyl chloride cards. These are basically the plastic cards and the hard cards. So National Health Authority signs MOU with this UTI to issue new PVC Ayushman Bharat card to beneficiary for free. Earlier they were charging the 30 rupees, but now they are now free. So guys, remember, this scheme is applied only for the 11 states and the union territories. This free cards will be provided to the 11 states and the union territories. And Ayushman card is not an essential requirement to receive the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana scheme service, because you can just search in the banking system, or you can search in the hospital system that you are basically eligible for the Ayushman card or not. So Ayushman card is not essential. Basically, it is a cashless treatment. You can go to the hospital and you can check whether you are eligible or not. So Ayushman card is not a necessity feature. So under this scheme, 5 lakh rupees is provided to every family per year. So guys, remember, this is the National Health Authority. And who is currently the head of the National Health Authority, and where is the headquarter of National Health Authority? This is important. So remember, the head of the National Health Authority, it means I am talking about the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Ram Sevak Sharma. Ram Sevak Sharma, headquarter is in New Delhi. Don't remember about UTA Infrastructure Technology and Services Limited. This is not so much important. Now moving to next question. Which company and Power Finance Corporation made an agreement with Bhutan-based hydro energy company for financing the hydroelectric project in Bhutan? It means 2 companies from India. One is the Power Finance Corporation, second is out of 4 options, and third is the Bhutan Hydro Energy Company is tying up so that they can make a hydro project in the Bhutan. So this is very important, and from Indian side it is the Rural Electrification Corporation and Power Finance Corporation signed an agreement with the Bhutan based hydro energy company. And what is the name of this company? Name of this company is Khlongchu Hydro Energy Limited. It means 2 companies from India, and third is the Khlongchu Hydro Energy Limited is making a 600 megawatt hydroelectric project in Bhutan, and these companies are basically financing this project. And the project has been executed as per intergovernmental agreement. It means both the governments also approved this project, Indian government and the royal government of the Bhutan. So don't remember about the REC, that is Rural Electrification, and don't remember about the Power Finance Corporation. Both the headquarters are in New Delhi, but both the organizations are not important. Just remember, they are financing the hydroelectric project in the Bhutan area. And just read this Bhutan Hydro Energy Company, that is Khlongchu Hydroelectric Energy Company. Now we are moving to next question. Samsung Electronics and Samsung Card signed a MOU with which card provider company to launch a fingerprint biometric payment card? So this is very important because it is the first time that Samsung is launching this type of the card that has biometric option. It means you don't have to enter any pin. You have to just press your finger on the biometric card, and your transactions will go away. So answer of this question is Mastercard is the answer. So you can see here Mastercard and Samsung Electronics and Samsung Card signs MOU to develop biometric card. So this is the sign here, biometric, and you have to just press your finger on this biometric card, then your transactions will go on, but you don't have to enter any pin. So it is just to develop a biometric card with a built-in fingerprint scanner sensor to provide faster and secure payment transactions. So user can pay through this biometric card at any Mastercard chip enabled terminal or point of sale terminal. So you don't have to enter any pin. You have to just press your finger on this Mastercard. Initially, this card will be available in South Korea, especially for the corporate clients as corporate credit cards, because they are doing much more international transactions and they are doing very large number of the international transactions. That's why it is just only available for the South Korean people and which are related to the corporate sector. But now in phased manner it will be started in India and also in the South Korea. So is the president and CEO of the Mastercard Michelle Maybach. Earlier it was Ajay Banga, but you have to remember now Michelle Maybach is the president and CEO of Mastercard. Moving to next question. Russia and which country partnered to set up International Lunar Scientific Research Station? So very important thing here is what is the name of the Russia's space agency? Name of the Russia space agency is Roscosmos. So remember, Roscosmos is the space agency of the Russia. And which country partnered to set up International Lunar Scientific Research Station? So guys, what is the work of this Lunar Scientific Research Station? So with regard to this project, if you are talking about the International Lunar Scientific Research, it will carry out scientific research activities such as the lunar exploration, and you can say the utilization, lunar based observations, basic scientific experiments and technical verification. And it will be open to all the countries. It means all the scientific research will be open to all the countries. And guys, remember one more important thing, that this will be built on the lunar surface or on the lunar orbit, and this another country is China. So it means Russia and China partner to set up International Lunar Scientific Research Station. So Russia and China to build lunar space station, and it is very important. Earlier you were talking about the International Space Station, but now it is the Lunar Scientific Research Station. And International Space Station was established in 1998 and it was developed by 5 countries. But now this lunar station is developed by only 2 countries. So it is jointly creating an International Lunar Scientific Research Station built on the lunar surface or on the orbit. So it will carry out all the lunar exploration and utilization, lunar based observations, basic scientific experiment, research and development, technical verification, and all things related to the lunar missions. So guys, remember we are talking about the International Space Station, and it was developed by the 5 countries at that time in 1998. These 5 country space agencies are like NASA is there, it means I am talking about the United States of America. Roscosmos is there, it means I am talking about Russia. JAXA is there, it means I am talking about Japan. ESA is there, it means I am talking about the European Union. And last one is the CSA, it means I am talking about Canada, Canadian Space Agency. Now we are moving to next question. Which e-commerce company launched Smart POS, a new application for accepting contactless payment through the smartphones? And this is a business application of this company, and by this Smart POS application you have to just tap and pay from your Android smartphones and the Apple smartphones, so you can do the contactless payment, and this company is Paytm. So you have to remember, Paytm launched smart point of sale machines from the mobile phones, and also launched Soundbox 2.0. So you can see here the Smart POS application is supported by the Paytm for business application for managing the seamless transactions. It means by this application you can do the contactless payments. So Paytm has also partnered with the Visa and MasterCard, so that you will be enabled with the special services to the contactless payment system. It means these services will be provided by the Visa and the MasterCard through the Paytm for business application. And Paytm also launched the Soundbox 2.0. Earlier they launched Soundbox 1.0, under which when you do the payments at merchant corner, then you will listen a voice which will be announcing your payment. But now they launched Soundbox 2.0, which have equipped with the digital screen along with the voice confirmation for payment. It means earlier Soundbox 1.0 is only capable for the voice confirmation. Now they are basically launching a digital screen with the voice confirmation. So this is the Soundbox 2.0. So founder and CEO Vijay Shekhar Sharma, and where is the headquarter? Headquarter is in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. So remember, it is the headquarter of Paytm. Now we are moving to next question. Which bank launched a wearable program named Wear and Pay to make contactless transactions? So this is a new trend going on, and earlier we talked about the SBI and Titan watch company Fast Track. So remember, Titan, or you can say the Fast Track, and SBI launched this Wear and Pay contactless transactions, and they are launching a new type of the watches. So by this watch, they are basically entering a chip, and this chip is attached to the SBI account, and by this smartwatch, you can do the payments up to 5,000 rupees. But now this bank is not tying up with any watch company. They are basically launching their own wearables, and this is named as the Wear and Pay to make contactless transactions. You have to just wave your watch or the wearable out of the point of sale machine, and your transactions will go on. And answer of this question is Axis Bank. So guys, you have to remember about the Axis Bank. Axis Bank is very important for you. Axis Bank is India's third largest private sector bank, and it was started in 1994. And who's the managing director and CEO? Managing director is Amitabh Chaudhary. And guys, remember, where is the headquarter? Headquarter is in Mumbai. And where is the tagline? Badhti ka naam Zindagi. So what is the tagline? Badhti ka naam Zindagi. So you can see here, these type of the variables and these type of the keychains, these type of the smart variables are there. So this will be launched by the Axis Bank, and its cost is very much less for the payment solution. So you can see here, you can see this slide also. It includes its own wearable payment devices in a variety of accessories like the band, keychain, and watch loop. But SBI launched with the Titan, but Axis launching their own wearable payments. So the wearables are embedded with the Flexi chip, which is attached to your account number, and this is to make payment up to rupees 5,000. And the customer has to wave and tap at the point of sale machine. It means you have to just pass your watch or the wearable out of the point of sale machine. And the devices are at affordable prices, and the joining fees is just 750, annual fees is 500. And who is the MD and CEO? Amitabh Chaudhary, and tagline is Badhti ka naam Zindagi. We already discussed these points. Now we are moving to next question. Which bank and Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited launched their co-lending business? So the most important keyword under this question is this co-lending business, because RBI describes some guidelines for this co-lending business. So what are these guidelines? These are very important guidelines which were described that under this any NBFC, like any non-banking financial company, shall be required to retain a minimum of 20% share of the individual loans. It means this Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company is basically one of the non-banking finance company. So they have to require a retain a minimum 20% share of the individual loans. And it will not apply to the foreign banks with less than 20 branches. This is the second condition. And third is, it enables banks to meet their priority sector lending target, either 32% or the 40%, but they have to meet the priority sector lending. So there are three conditions. One is the 20% loans in the individual category, not less than 20 branches if they are applying for the foreign bank, but third is the meet the priority sector lending targets. And this co-lending bank, which is tying up with the Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company, it is the Karur Vyasya Bank. So remember this. So you can see here Karur Vyasya Bank, Smart Way to Bank, and Cholamandalam Finance Company in co-lending pact. So you have to just remember. So by this, to lower the cost of the capital and open new markets by enabling new loans at finer rates, because there is so much capital will be available if the two companies are tying up, one is the bank and second is the finance company, then the rates will be lowered. So easily scalable model to facilitate rapid business expansion and effective risk management, and they can use the technology, new technology, to enable seamless integration and multiple partner banks. So remember about the co-lending model. And Karur Vyasya Bank is not so much important, but you have to remember it was established in 1916 and headquarters is in Karur, Tamil Nadu. And what is the tagline? Smart Way to Bank. Don't remember the MD and CEO. It is not important, but you can remember if you want. R. Ramesh Babu. So South Indians can remember by this name Ramesh Babu. So very important personality, Ramesh Babu, and a very famous actor, but he is not an actor. R. Ramesh Babu is a banker. Moving to next question. Disciplinary panel of National Anti-Doping Agency imposed sanctions to on whom for the violation of NADA's code. It means the players are using the prohibited substances. So that's why NADA put a ban on these players, and these players are, one is Ruchika, second is Madhavan R. It means answer is both A and B. So guys, remember answer is both A and B, and these players, basically Ruchika belongs to boxing. Remember, Ruchika belongs to boxing, and Madhavan R belongs to weightlifting. Weightlifter. So remember, these players are very important, like Madhavan R weightlifter and Ruchika boxing, and both players are Indian. So even this anti-doping disciplinary panel put a ban of 4 years on the Madhavan and 2 years on the Ruchika. So this is a very huge ban put by the anti-doping disciplinary panel. So it is by NADA. So you have to remember just the name of the player, or you can remember the question as in the slide. So you can also see here this anti-doping agency sanctions on the boxer Ruchika and weightlifter Madhavan. Madhavan 4 years, Ruchika 2 years for doping violation. So examiner just can ask that recently NADA put a ban on the players. So what is the name of the players? So you have to remember this. Next is the We Hub collaborated with which country to launch women entrepreneurship program Upsurge. So the most important thing here is the We Hub. We Hub is basically a state incubation center of the woman entrepreneur, and this belongs to which state? It belongs to Telangana. And only one country till date signed an agreement with the We Hub, that is the international country named as the Australia. So you have to remember answer is Australia. We have tie up with the Australia government to start Upsurge pre-incubation program, which will be started by We Hub and the Australia, and maximum role will be played by the Australian government. So it is a 12-week pre-incubation program conducted across India, and the program is targeted towards women entrepreneurs, because We Hub is basically a women entrepreneurship program. So to minimize financial risk while selling novel products and achieve financial independence. Recently, Australia has developed 10-year plan for women in science, technology, engineering and maths, like known as the STEM, to support improved gender equity in the STEM, so that maximum to maximum women can play a role in the science, technology, engineering and the maths. Recently, in the last day, we also discussed about the IBM. IBM is also focusing on the STEM program, because they were also starting the women entrepreneurship programs, that is also known as the STEM program. We Hub is India's first and only state-led incubator to foster and promote women entrepreneurship, and it was started by the Telangana government. And guys, remember, Australia is the first international partner of the We Hub. It means the only country which partnered with the We Hub, the state incubator, that is Australia. And guys, remember, We Hub headquarters is in Telangana. And remember about Australia, capital is Canberra and Prime Minister is Scott Morrison. Now we are moving to next section. It is the important question section. Government is set to mandate electronic invoicing, or you can say the e-invoicing GST regime for business entities with a turnover of INR dash and more from April 1st, 2021. So it is very important, because it was mandated under the GST Act of 2017, because GST Act was applied in 2017. So it is very important. Now this is the third phase which they are basically changing. Otherwise, in the first phase, they just put the e-invoicing covered business entities with over 500 crore or more than 500 crore. In the second phase, they covered entities with the 100 crore or more than 100 crore turnover. But now in the third phase, they are covering the 50 crore or more than 50 crore. So it means they are basically covering all the companies. Firstly, they covered the 500 crore or more than 500 crore. Second phase, they covered 100 crore and more than 100 crore. Now they are covering the 50 crore and more than 50 crore. So it will bring the transparency in the sales reporting, or minimizing error and the mismatches, automation of data entry work and improving compliance. It will also help in the prevention of tax evasion. So e-invoicing is very important, because it will bring the transparency, it will bring the you can say the sales reporting. It will also minimizing error. It is a automation in the data entry work, and it will also improve the compliance, so that maximum to maximum tax can be generated. So you can see here GST e-invoicing mandatory for turnover rupees 50 crore and above from the April 1st. But who is applying agency of the GST? It is Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, CBIC. and it is a part of the Department of Revenue under the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, and who is the chairman of CBIC, and chairman is M. Ajit Kumar. So remember, if we are talking about the direct taxing, then answer is PC Modi. Who is the chairman? PC Modi, and recently time period was extended. You can see here it is the third phase of mandatory e-invoicing, a GST regime, and remember about the chairman, and it comes under GST rules of 2017. Now we are moving to one-liner important points. First point is increase in FDI in the insurance sector to 74% from 49%. Just remember, FDI in the insurance sector is now increased. It is now 74%. Next, Delhi government presented the budget, and this state budget terms at the Desh Bhakti budget. So just remember that the Delhi government named their budget as a Desh Bhakti budget. Next is the Shushmita Mukherjee authored a new book titled Banch Incomplete Lives of a Complete Woman. So remember the title of the book. Remember the author name, that is Shushmita Mukherjee, and title is The Banch Incomplete Lives of the Complete Woman. Basically, this book is a collection of 11 short stories that portray the life of the woman from various social backgrounds. It means the book features the world of the women who are living in the excluded society to the women living in the higher levels of the society. So that is the main aim of the book. So next is the creation of Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Nidhi. This is important. You can remember somehow that this is basically a fund. This is basically a fund, and it is approved as a single non-lapsable reserve fund. Remember, it is a fund and it is a non-lapsable, and it is for a share of health from the proceeds of the health and education cess levied under the Finance Act of 2007. It means all the education and health cess will be collected under this fund. This is known as the Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Nidhi Fund. So remember this, and it is maintained by Ministry of Health and Public Welfare. And remember, it is non-lapsable. Next is the first ever visit of the INS to historical port city of the Mongla in Bangladesh. So why are INS like Indian Navy ships visited the Mongla port of the Bangladesh? Because this is a part of commemoration of the Swarnim Vijay Varsh of the Bangladesh, that is the 50th anniversary celebration of the Bangladesh, because Bangladesh got the independence in 1971 under the War of Liberation against the Pakistan. So guys, remember, this is just a tribute to the Bangladesh, that INS Sumedha and INS Kulish, these two offshore patrol vessels and the you can say the guided missile vessels visited this port city, that is the Mongla of the Bangladesh. Next is the Ivory Coast Prime Minister Hamid Bakayo passed away at the age of 56, and the new interim Prime Minister, it means the temporary Prime Minister, was elected. And what is the name of this interim Prime Minister? You have to remember, Patrick Achi. So remember, Patrick Achi. Patrick Achi is the new temporary Prime Minister of the Ivory Coast. So remember this. And what is the capital of Ivory Coast? Capital is Yamoussoukro. So remember, Yamoussoukro. And currency is Western African CFA franc. Now we are moving to the question of the day, and what was the question of 11th March 2021? Very simple question. You can see here, the people of Indus Valley civilization worshipped, and I already gave you hint that this person is a prototype Shiva, and this person is known as Pashupati. So remember, prototype Shiva, also known as the Pashupati, and people of Indus Valley civilization, especially the Mohenjo-daro and the Harappa people, worshipped this Pashupati symbol, and it is also known as the prototype Shiva, and it was found in the Mohenjo-daro. So remember this. Now we are moving to the question of the day. Question of the day is, Sangpo is the other name in Tibet for which river? So you can see here the four options, and this is very important river, and its origin point is east of the Mansarovar Lake, and it is starting from the China. And in China it is known as Sangpo, and in India it is known as. So you have to remember, and you have to only comment in the comment box. So I am waiting your answer. So guys, you have to provide us 700 plus likes, you have to subscribe our channel, you have to press the bell button so that you can receive the notification on time, and it is a Fairs Cloud promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section. And guys, remember, don't take life so much serious. Life is fun, life is beautiful. Always be happy, because happiness is the key of success. Thank you guys again, and take care. Bye bye. We will meet you tomorrow. We will try to upload your current affairs as early as possible. So guys, meet you tomorrow again. Thank you guys again. Take care. Bye bye.